Hi everybody, it's Richard here again and welcome to another video. Now, I played the David Bowie album Diamond Dogs last night and it blew me away, so I thought I want to do another David Bowie video. So I've done quite a few, but I have never really touched on the live albums. So what I'm going to do is rank the 16 live albums I have in my collection. They're all official releases now. I know since Bowie has died there's been a lot of albums that have come out that are semi-official, but I don't have very many of them, and there's a few that I'm not actually going to count. For example, I'm not counting the BBC sessions because it was really a compilation album of different live performances for the BBC. However, whenever the original CD came out, there was a live album, Live 2000 for the BBC, which I will be counting. Most of these are on vinyl and a few of them are actually on CD. Now, I'm not the biggest live album fan in the world, although with Bowie being my favourite artist, you know, I do enjoy most of these. Not all of them actually, especially the last one. So let's get down to this, and the first one up at number 16, and this is a terrible album, and it's the Tin Machine album live, Oy Vey Baby, and this has got about 8 songs on it, and some of the versions are so extended that you just can't be bothered listening to it. For example, Stateside is about 8 or 9 minutes long. That's an awful song to begin with, so an extended version I do not want. Heavens in Here is over 10 minutes. Although it's a great song, I just don't want to hear it, and I just don't think it is very good. So that's my number 16. Now, I will explain here that some of his live albums have been reissued with extra tracks. I am going with the original album, although in the next case, my number 15, the reissue is brilliant compared to the original album. And my number 15, believe it or not, is Stage from 1978. Now, the thing about this I don't like, and I think Tony Visconti actually did this, is he chopped and changed the running order. So the whole of side 1 is the Ziggy songs, Hang On To Yourself, Ziggy Stardust, 5 Years, Soul Love and Star. Side 2 is more the mid 70s, and side 3 and 4 is more the low heroes. Also, I don't like about this is that there's a gap between each song, so they're all individual songs, they don't flow, so the audience noise fades out and that fades back in again. But I just don't like it, and the performance is good, but as a live album, for me it just does not work. However, this here is the 2017 version, and because this is not the original, I can't really count it. And what they've done is they put the running order in the correct way, and they've added some really cool bonus tracks like Suffragette City, and I think there's another one on here, Alabama Song, and they also have Be My Wife. So this is a really good album, and it would be much higher, but as I say, I'm counting the originals first. So number 15 is Stage. Number 14, and this has got a fantastic track list, but unfortunately it's not that well recorded, and it is I'm Only Dancing, the Soul Tour 74, and this was a Record Store Day album, and this has some really good songs that you don't really hear much, like Sorrow from 1974. I think he only performed it once or twice. You also get some of the Young Americans tracks that were yet to be released, like Can You Hear Me, Somebody Up There Likes Me, and even It's Gonna Be Me, which failed to make the cut unbelievably for Young Americans. I also like Foot Stomping, I Wish I Could Shimmy Like My Sister Kate, which really turned out to be Fame a few months later. It's a really good track list. The sound quality is not bad, but it's just not that great, so that gets my number 14. Number 13, and this is pure 80s, and this is the Glass Spider tour. Now, I saw him in this tour, and it was a good show, but the thing is, it's elaborate, loads and loads of lights, and it was in June. So it took a long time, obviously, for the sun to go down so you could actually see the effects of the lights. So it started off in broad daylight, and it just didn't work until it got dark. But this is a very good album from 1987, and however, he does concentrate a little bit too much on his Never Let Me Down material. So from that album you get Glass Spider, Day In Day Out, Bang Bang. You also get Never Let Me Down, 87 and Cry, Time Will Crawl, Beat of Your Drum. So those are all from 87. However, you do get some songs that you don't really expect, and so I believe All the Madmen is on this, as is Loving the Alien, which is a good version. Absolute Beginners. I actually remember whenever he played Absolute Beginners he had to stop because people were getting crushed, and they had to throw water over them because it was a really hot day. But yeah, good album, but it does have a very 80s sound, but still I really enjoy it, and that's my number 13. Now number 12 is the album you got free with the BBC album. Now this is the extended version because I'm not pulling another one out. It does have a couple of extra tracks, but even without them it's still my number 12. And yeah, this is a very strong album. It came off the Glastonbury performance, and you have things like it starts off with This Is Not America, which is really good to hear, always crashing in the same car. He does I Dig Everything, although I think that is a bonus track on this, I'm not 100% sure. And you get your normal ones like All the Young Dudes and Heroes, Let's Dance. Very, very good album from 2000, and that gets my number 12. At number 11, and we have Ziggy Stardust, the motion picture. Now this was released in 1983 and actually featured the single White Light, White Heat. And this is the album where he said not only is this the last show of the tour, but it's the last show we'll ever do, which is true when it comes to the Ziggy persona, but it's not true for live David Bowie. Yeah, very good, but the recording of this is not fantastic either. It's not bad. It starts off a Hang On To Yourself, Ziggy Stardust, which he started all the shows off around 72, 73, and you get some really good songs. The medley, Wild Eyed Boy from Free Cloud, All the Young Dudes, and Oh You Pretty Things is a highlight in this for me. But yeah, really good album, but it's better whenever you actually watch the DVD or the VHS or whatever to see how good this actually is. So that's my number 11. Okay, at number 10, and similar to the BBC 2000, and this is the Glastonbury show from 2000, and this got a release a couple of years ago. Again, it's quite a similar track list to the BBC, although this one starts off with Wild as the Wind, which is absolutely beautiful. You get great tracks like Ashes to Ashes, Rebel Rebel, All the Young Dudes, Absolute Beginners again, Heroes, Let's Dance. Really good album. The problem with this album is there's a typo. It actually lists changes twice on side 1 and side 2, and I can't remember what the song actually is, but yeah, it's a 3 LP set and it is very heavy. So this gets my number 10. Now at number 9, I'm going to count this, and this is another Record Store Day release, and it's Changes Now Bowie. It's only the one album. It was recorded in November 1996 in New York City, and there's some really good versions on this of some songs that he would normally never do. So for example, Shopping for Girls from the Tin Machine 2 album is on this, and it's a much better version. You also get Lady Stardust, which he very rarely does. Repetition, a song I don't really like from Lodger. This is much better, and Quicksand finishes this off. This is a really strong album, and it's only one disc unfortunately, and it gets my number 9. At number 8, and from 1999, we have the VH1 Storytellers, And this is the one where, you know, he sings a song, he tells little stories between each song, and I think this is really good, especially when he's talking about Mark Bolan and he puts on Mark Bolan's voice. But one of the reasons I really like this is because he does a version of Drive-In Saturday. Now he mistakenly says it's from 1974, it's actually 73, and you get other songs like Word on a Wing, which is a brilliant version as well. Rebel Rebel is just a little intro type song to Thursday's Child, which was the recent hit single from 1999. This album gives you bonus tracks like Survive, I Can't Read, which is the solo version, not the Tin Machine reading of it. Always Crashing in the Same Car, and I'm Dreaming, or If I'm Dreaming My Life. So a very, very strong album. It's a double LP and it gets my number 8. Now number 7, and this was probably the most bootlegged album in the 70s for him, and this is the Live Santa Monica 72. Now I've got this in CD, it came out in the 90s, and it is a radio show, but it is fantastic. The set list is unbelievable. Again, starts off with Hang On To Yourself and Ziggy Stardust, but you get things like 5 Years, you get Andy Warhol, you get Queen Bitch, John and Money Dancing, Waiting for the Man, Gene Genie, Rock and Roll Suicide. Absolutely brilliant album, and it gets my number 7. Now number 6, and this is probably where the reissue of Stage would have come, and this is Welcome to the Blackout, another RSD release. Now this is very similar to Stage, but what this does include is actually Sound and Vision from Earl's Court. So to have it on an album, I had it on a rare bootleg CD, just the song itself, and you also get Be My Wife. So really this is similar to Stage. Now you get 5 Years, So Love Star, Hang On To Yourself, Ziggy, Suffragette City, all from Ziggy Stardust. You also get the Gene Genie is on this, which is not on the original Stage. I think it actually is on the reissue. And you get TVC 15 Stay and Rebel Rebels on this, which is not on the reissue Stage either. So this is a really good album. This, between this and the 2017 Stage, we get my number 6, but as I said, I'm counting the originals. Okay, at number 5 I'm going to give it to a reality tour from 2003, and this is another triple album, and this has got an absolute blinding set list. Starts off with Rebel Rebel, New Killer Star. You get Reality from the Reality album. Not one of my favourite songs, but nice to see him do it live. He does Be My Wife. He does a fantastic version of All the Young Dudes on this, and a really good set of, you know, all his different eras, like Ashes to Ashes is on this, The Motel from One Outside is on it. You also get Fall Dog Bombs the Moon from Reality, Breaking Glass from Low, China Girl. Really good triple album, and this is on blue vinyl, so this is my number 5. Now number 4, I love this album because I saw him in this tour. It's a Serious Moonlight from 1983. Now considering, you know, Let's Dance was the album that was out, he performs 4 songs, Cat People, China Girl, Let's Dance and Modern Love. That's it, that's really half the album. But, you know, what he picks is absolutely brilliant. Look Back in Anger from Lodger opens this, fantastic song. You get Heroes, What in the World from Low, Golden Years, Fashion, Let's Dance, Breaking Glass, Life in Mars, Sorrow, 2 of the Let's Dance ones, Scary Monsters, Rebel Rebel, Station to Stations even on this as well, Space Oddity, Young Americans, Fame, Modern Love. This is a brilliant album. Now however, this does sound a little bit dated. It does have like a mid-80s sound to it, but I don't care because I saw him on this tour, and it's an absolutely fantastic live album, so that gets my number 4. Okay, at number 3 we have Live Nassau Coliseum 76, and again another superb live album, starting off with Station to Station. Suffragette City and Fame. One of the highlights for me in this is Queen Bitch. Hearing that from 1976 is completely different to the Hunky Dory version, although I did hear this before as a bonus track on the Ryko Station to Station. You get Life on Mars, 5 Years, Panic in Detroit, Changes, Diamond Dogs, Rebel Rebel, Gene Genie, all classic songs from around my favourite period, which is the 74, 75, 76 period. So that gets my number 3. And number 2, we have another Record Store Day one, and this is Cracked Actor. And this is another triple album, although I believe it's only 5 sides. Yeah, this is from around the 1974 tour, and he does actually sing a couple of songs that did not get on David Live. John, I'm Only Dancing Again is great to hear. He also does It's Gonna Be Me, which was never released until the 1990s. But yeah, really strong album. Sounds really good as well. It gets my number 2, and there's a reason why it's number 2, because it's so similar to my number 1. And my number 1 is David Live from 1974, number 2 album. Now this one has a hit single on it, Knock on Wood, but this is the very first David Bowie live album I ever heard. In fact, I heard it in cassette before I actually heard it in vinyl, and the cassette has a different running order, a slightly different running order. So this one opens with 1984, the cassette opened with Big Brother. You get the Rebel Rebel with the I version, which is the US promo version. Moon Age Daydream's great, Sweet Thing is absolutely fantastic. And I'm glad they just called it Sweet Thing rather than Sweet Thing Medley, because it brings in the whole of the medley. You get a version of All the Young Dudes on this, which is completely different to any other version. In fact, there's a few of the songs on here that vary a lot from the original recorded versions, like Width of a Circle is completely different, excellent. Gene Genie is completely different, as is Cracked Actor. I love this album. It's probably my second favourite live album of all time, and that gets my number 1 David Bowie live album. But before I sign off, I want to show you this. Now this is the reissue. Now this is even better, but even without this, the David Live would still be my number 1. And this includes things like Here Today Gone Tomorrow, which I absolutely love. Space Oddity is on this, and Panic in Detroit's on this, which wasn't on the other album. And as you can see with the 2 albums, there's a slightly different cover. They're reversed, and one is coloured. So David Live, whichever one, is my number 1 David Bowie live album. Okay, I hope you enjoyed that. That's me for now, and I hope to have another video quite soon. All the best now. Bye bye.